The sound that jolted me upright wasn't the hum of the refrigerator. It was the slow, deliberate turn of my front door handle click pause. Then the unmistakable scrape of a key sliding into the lock. I set my coffee down, pulse quickening. My townhouse sat at the end of a quiet cul-de-sac where nothing ever happened. At least nothing like this. Through the frosted glass of the door, a blurry figure came into view. Short, stocky hair, twisted into a tight bun. Even without seeing her face, I knew who it was, Mrs. Dalton. HOA president, neighborhood busybody, the kind of person who believed property values meant she could control the color of your welcome mat. I'd heard whispers that she kept a master key for emergency inspections, though no one had ever approved it. I always assumed it was just gossip, until now. Almost there, I heard her mutter as the lock gave a soft metallic click and the handle started to turn. Mrs. Dalton. My voice came out sharper than I intended. The turning stopped, the door cracked open 2 inches, and her face appeared, all polite surprise. "Oh, I was just checking your door security HOA, safety protocol," she said with a smile that looked painful to hold. "With your own key?" I asked, stepping closer. Her eyes flicked past me into the living room. "There have been incidents. I'm making sure everyone's safe." From upstairs came the sound of quick, light footsteps. My son Caleb was. "Awake, Dad. Who's at the door?" called. Curiosity in his tone, but also that edge that meant he was already thinking, already planning. Mrs. Dalton's expression softened artificially. "Oh, hello there, young man. Just helping your dad out." Caleb padded down the stairs in pajama pants, hair sticking in every direction, stopped beside me, studying her like a puzzle. His gaze landed on the brass key still pinched between her fingers. "What happens," he asked calmly, "if you use that key when nobody's home?" Her mouth opened, then closed again. I glanced at him and saw the faint grin forming at the corner of his mouth. Last time I'd seen that look, he'd set up a motion sensor sprinkler to protect our tomatoes from squirrels. Whatever he was thinking now, it was going to be memorable, and Mrs. Dalton wasn't ready for it. She shifted on the porch, clearly. Uncomfortable with Caleb's steady stare, she said, "I better be on my way. I have other homes to check." She eased the door closed and walked briskly down the path. Caleb turned to me before the latch even clicked.
Dad!
"She's going to do it again?" I frowned. "Maybe, but what can we do? She's the HOA president. If I accuse her without proof, that's why we get proof," he interrupted. He led me into the kitchen, pulling a notebook from the junk drawer and sketching a crude diagram of our entryway. "We set up the camera here." He pointed to a corner shelf by the coat rack, angled it toward the door. Then he drew a rectangle labeled trap. "Trap?" I asked, raising an eyebrow. "Not dangerous," he said quickly, grinning. "Just enough to make her think twice before touching our lock again." By mid-afternoon, Caleb had rummaged through the garage and emerged with a battery-powered air horn, a handful of fishing line, and the wireless door camera I'd bought months ago but never installed. Fishing line tied the horn to the inside handle door opens more than 2 inches. Bam! Instant noise, and the camera gets it all. I chuckled. "You've really thought this through. It's not just about us," he said seriously. "She's got that key. She could be snooping in anyone's house. Someone's got to stop her." We positioned the camera nearly invisible, threading the fishing line so thin it disappeared against the trim. Caleb tested it twice, once with me opening the door, once with him. The horn blared so loudly we both jumped. By evening, the trap was ready. The next morning, I left for work as usual, but Caleb was home for summer break. Around 10 a.m., I got a text. "She's here." My heart rate picked up. Through my phone's live feed, I saw Mrs. Dalton approach, glance around, insert the brass key into our lock like she'd done it 100 times before. The door cracked open, the air horn exploded. Mrs. Dalton launched backward like she'd been yanked by an invisible rope. Her handbag flew, papers scattering like startled pigeons. The mic picked up a strangled yelp, half gasp, half indignation. "Good heavens!" she barked, clutching her chest, spinning to find the source. Caleb sat cross-legged in the hallway, grinning. She didn't dare open it again. Straightening her blazer, she scooped her things and marched toward the street only, to stop when Mr. Kincaid, our neighbor, called, "Everything all right, Karen?" Her cheeks flushed. "Perfectly fine, just startled by a malfunctioning door alarm." Caleb muted the horn remotely and leaned against the wall, waiting. She huffed away but glanced back at our door like it had personally offended her. That afternoon, Caleb was buzzing. "You've got to see this," he said, pulling me to the laptop. The video was crystal clear, Mrs. Dalton fumbling with the key, the blast her leap backward. "She won't be able to spin this, it's undeniable proof," I said. Caleb's eyes sparkled. "What if we send it to everyone on the HOA email list?" I hesitated. Bold, risky, but satisfying. "She's going to hate us," I said. "She's already snooping in people's houses," he replied. "She's earned it." We decided to wait. The next morning, I caught her standing on the sidewalk across from our house, phone in hand, pretending to scroll while sneaking glances. "She's planning something," Caleb murmured. The next morning was unusually quiet. Caleb, at his upstairs, "Look out," whispered, "she's back." But this time she wasn't alone. Mr. Briggs, the HOA vice president, clipboard in hand, stood beside her. "They're casing the place," Caleb said. I stepped outside for the mail, pretending not to notice, but saw her subtly pointing at my front lawn, gesturing to the shrubs. Mr. Briggs scribbled notes. Back inside, Caleb was already at the door. "She's trying to get you on a violation," he said. "Classic Karen move," he grinned. "Good thing I installed a second camera. Yesterday, while I was at work, he'd mounted a birdhouse. Camera on the porch?" At noon, the feed showed them at our door. She bent down and placed something under the doormat as $75 fine. For unapproved decorative elements and landscaping. The decorative element? The birdhouse camera she didn't realize was watching? Caleb laughed. She just wrote herself into a corner. At night. We clipped both incidents together and sent them to the HOA board first. The next morning, Mrs. Dalton's car was gone. By evening, rumors buzzed. Thursday night's HOA meeting was packed. Caleb had the clips queued. Mrs. Dalton entered. Chin high, but eyes darting. Mr. Kincaid interrupted the agenda. Before anything, it was a matter of security violations. All eyes turned to us. Caleb walked to the front, projecting the videos, gasps and chuckles at the air horn, sharper murmurs at the citation planting. "If she did this to one house, she could do it to anyone," he said. Mrs. Dalton claimed the videos were misleading. "Are they false?" someone asked. She paused. "They may have been taken out of context." Mr. Briggs shifted uncomfortably. "I wasn't aware of the key or the citation without notice. That's not protocol." A motion to remove her passed easily. She gathered her papers, avoiding our eyes, the brass key dangling from her hand until she set it on the table. Caleb whispered, "Lesson learned." The rest of the meeting was mundane, but the room felt lighter. Neighbors thanked us. Walking home under the streetlights, Caleb asked, "Do you think she'll try anything again?" I shook my head. "Not with the whole neighborhood watching," he grinned. "Then I guess the air horn's going into retirement." But knowing Caleb, I kept it handy just in case. And that's how one red air horn, and a little quick thinking, turned the tables on our HOA troublemaker. If you enjoyed this story, tap that subscribe button so you never miss the next one. Smash the like if you think we handled Karen the right way. Tell me in the comments what's the craziest neighbor story you've ever heard.